the regulatory stuff is, in my mind, would be the bare minimum I should do, right? And so then it's saying, okay, how do I meet and totally exceed those requirements? I mean, organizations thinking that way are not blowing tires out on the road. They are not having unplanned breakdowns. They are running uptime that's, just exceptional because they get it.
Hello and welcome everyone to a brand new episode of the Auto Tech Show. My name is Mark Babin, your host. Thank you all so very much for being with me on another great episode here in 2024. We're extremely happy that you're joining this episode. It's a good one. Get that notepad out. You're going to need it today. On this episode, we're heading into the world of fleet management, talking about a critical topic that has a direct effect on literally every driver on the roadway. Of course, we're talking fleet safety and looking beyond the driver themselves to the processes and procedures that happen in the background. Now, we know this is a very complex topic with a lot of variables at play, and so I wanted to bring someone onto the show with a wealth of fleet experience. As the host of the Straight Talk on Fleet podcast, Erin Gilchrist has countless in-depth fleet conversations with some of the largest industry leaders from around the world, experience and conversations that will not only lend itself to this conversation, but perhaps to the challenges within the industry that you're facing as well. Erin, thank you so very much for your time today. I know you have a lot going on, but it's great to have you. I can't wait to lean into you on some of these topics. I'm really looking forward to getting your insights. But first and foremost, thanks so much for being with me.
Super excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun.
How's the start of the year been for you?
Quick. I mean, we're almost to the end of January and still working on getting Christmas down. So it's been a fast start and a slow start at the same time, but really looking forward to what this year has to bring, business wise and certainly personally. So hope it's going well for you too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think having Christmas up is a great metaphor for how the start of the year's been. So much on the go, but I think the year is shaping to be a great one for the industry. I think a lot of the challenges that we've seen bubbling to the surface over the last years, the demand and the solution, I guess, available for it, these conversations are happening, and they're happening more often right now. And I think that's a key aspect to the year. And I'm really excited for what the year's going to bring, to be honest. So
I totally agree.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to start today's discussion by bringing up a fairly strong word when we talk about general safety, and that word is accountability. When it comes to our roadway safety, just how important is accountability when we look at fleet operators and the processes that they have to follow to ensure that not only their vehicles are in top condition all the time, but their drivers as well?
Yeah, accountability it feels like a bad word in the sense that it sounds punitive, but actually, we're all accountable for so many things in our life. And I think that, we're accountable for each other. Mm-hmm. And when you think about it that way, sort of, we're all in this together, and some of those cliches that seem like cliches, but they're really, really not. When I think about organizations working together who have fleets and doing everything that they can to make sure that their vehicles and drivers are fit every day for the road, if everybody was in that camp, just imagine vehicles leaving their depots and homes and everything every day fit for the road, and imagine the accident reduction statistics we could measure if we just all thought that way. And I know we're talking more about, sort of the vehicle safety, but holistically, if we all just walked out the door every morning to get in our vehicles and said, okay, is my vehicle ready to go? Am I ready to go? And I'm going to just drive today. When I'm in my vehicle, I'm going to just drive. And then, is my vehicle fit for the road? So that I don't put myself or anyone else in danger. So accountability is everyone's job. But certainly organizations with fleet have a much, much greater accountability for safety for everyone on the roadways because of the number of miles they drive and the number of vehicles they put out there doing services every day.
Yeah, the operator themselves, the ones putting the vehicles out on the road, they have a level of accountability that I think surpasses most other professions, right?
Absolutely. And I think that, drivers, I'll call them drivers because, I think that they should be thinking about themselves when they get in the vehicle. Okay, I'm driving now. I'm not spraying a lawn or cleaning carpets or fixing an air conditioner or whatever my vocational work is right now. I'm a driver. And so the accountability for them needs to come down from their organizations, across, over, up, say it however you want to say it. But they need to understand those critical processes that are required of them every day so that when they go out on the road with the most dangerous tool they've ever or will ever be issued, that everything's in proper working order. It's like, can you imagine if you were a woodworker and you have a dull saw? No, you would never have a dull saw because one, it's dangerous, and two, it's not going to help you with your work that day. It has to be sharp, has to be ready to go. So the vehicle has to be thought of in that same way by the operator, and the operator has to be accountable for, hey, are my tires inflated? Are they in good working condition? Is my do I have any lights on or indicators? So there's so many things that they can look at to make sure that when they go out on the road that they're not going to put themselves or anyone else in danger. And they should really be accountable for this in their own mind. How do they make their money? They make their money, and organizations make their money on how successful the fleet delivers those products and services that day. So who wants to break down? Who wants to have an unplanned breakdown and, throw their entire productivity off for the day? That would be crazy. So yeah, the accountability on the driver is also huge, but I think it's on the ownership of the organization to make the fleet stuff easy for them, right? So they can focus on their vocational work and be successful, and everybody can be profitable. But first and foremost, let's just make it so easy for them to do the things that the organization and we need them to do to be successful every day. And so I know we're going to dig into some of that, but you're right on the accountability. I mean, it's a really good word because it's a word for all of us who operate any sort of asset on the roads every day.
Yeah, and I like how you mentioned there and you touched on the responsibility side of it, because I think these two go hand in hand. Understanding the responsibility that you have in any vehicle, that's a serious piece of equipment, especially when we get to the fleets and the trucks. I mean, that's an even more serious piece of equipment. And the operator and the driver, everyone involved has to understand that level of responsibility given upon them and the accountability that it comes with. I think those two words go really nicely together.
Agreed, 100%.
So obviously we have the driver, we have the operator. You've had lots of conversations with different companies and different styles of organizations. Are there other lesser known variables that should also hold some level of accountability that maybe the average person doesn't know about?
I mean, I think generally, when you think about the organization as a whole, you have the fleet department who's managing the assets, but a lot of times driver safety is on operations. So, so those two entities working together are protecting and caring for the operator and the asset. But I think greater than that is the organization as a whole. You think about human resources and legal. I mean, there's almost no one, no business unit inside of your organization that doesn't touch the fleet of vehicles and the drivers, right? And I think it's everyone's responsibility then to make sure that organizationally there's a safety culture. So everybody's sort of singing the same tune, right? Everybody's on the same page. And then when you're successful at that, I think everything falls into line. And I think all of those other business units understand their role in safety of people who sit at desks all day, safety of the people who, work in the building, work in the vehicle. And it's like thinking about the vehicle as just another work zone. Or, a work site. If organizations can adopt that mindset, then I think that responsibility and accountability sort of everybody gets it, right? So everybody knows their part in keeping vehicle and driver, in tip-top shape and fit for the job they're going to do every day. So again, we could say safety is everyone's job 100 times, but really when you break it down, fleet managers should be collaborating and working with the people, the operations leaders, folks in legal who are responsible for helping the organization when something happens, not if, but when, right? And then certainly the C-suite has the ultimate responsibility for making sure that they walk the walk, talk the talk, and it's not just a mandate coming down from them, but they're living that culture as well in everything that they do. And I think that's where things get better, things get easier, is when the culture's right.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of these, we talk about whether it's a culture of innovation, a culture of safety, a culture of progressiveness. It all starts at having everyone on board drink the same juice. And that's kind of what you said there as well. It starts with culture, and that a culture has its own accountability from the C-suite to develop, and the different teams, it touches everybody. So I think that's a really nice way to think of it from a cultural aspect. It maybe lightens that load a little bit. It can build a strong foundation that will help every process in the company. And I like that a lot. So we spoke about something before in our pre-call kickoff as well a few weeks ago that I wanted to bring up today because I thought it was super insightful, and I want to dive a bit more into it as well. Now, I'm EU based here in Austria, and I have to say that it's quite unbelievable. Every time I travel to the US or Canada, there's so much tire debris on the highways, and it's shocking. Anytime I go there, it's extremely and instantly noticeable. Every few miles or kilometers, there's some type of truck load. It's clearly larger fleet vehicles that have bits of rubber lying all over the roadway. And I'm not quite used to seeing that because we have them here, but not near as much. You see, it's a very rarity to see over here. And obviously this has a lot to do with the regulatory compliance and the differences between tire and vehicle laws in the different regions. And I don't really want to touch that necessarily, but what I do want to address is that no fleet operator wants to see their vehicle have highway or roadway issues. It's liability issues, it's safety for their drivers, for everyone else on the road. So the question then becomes, should operators and fleet managers and drivers hold themselves to a higher standard than what is legally required? Or is it inevitable in this industry to kind of sneak by with the minimum cost savings?
It's both. But I can tell you that what we should be doing and the right thing to do is holding ourselves as organizations with fleets to the highest standard. It's almost like the regulatory stuff is, in my mind, would be the bare minimum I should do, right? And so then it's saying, okay, how do I meet and totally exceed those requirements? I mean, organizations thinking that way are not blowing tires out on the road. They are not having unplanned breakdowns. They are running uptime that's just exceptional because they get it. So that mindset is critical to the productivity and success of your organization, not to mention sort of our duty, right? To make sure that we're not adding to what's already a big problem here. And you're right, I see it too. There are states that don't have laws around vehicle inspections when they renew their registration. It's unbelievable and to me irresponsible because unsafe vehicles out on the roadways just mean more accidents, right? More debris, more accidents, unsafe road conditions. So it's irresponsible. And so I think that organizations with fleet have to say, okay, we're not going to ignore the laws. We're going to uphold them, but then we're going to exceed them. For the reasons and whether their motivation is profitability, I don't care. Yeah. What I care about is that they think about vehicle fitness differently, right? And we talked about that a little bit, but I think this idea of holding themselves to a higher standard should be the norm. If you're going with just the law, like, okay, so, we have to inspect vehicles once a year or whatever it may be, and wherever you are operating assets, I think that's, average, mediocre. Who wants to be average? Who wants to be mediocre, right? That's not winning. That's not succeeding. So I think companies with that mindset, their time is their days are numbered, right? So I think best practice is, the highest standard for every vehicle every single day.
Yeah, and
that's my opinion.
No matter the motivation, as you said, and that's, I think, whatever that motivating factor is for you, whether it's that culture aspect we come back to again, right? If that culture is about safety, then you hold yourself to a higher safety standard. If it's about giving your drivers the best opportunities, your team, you don't want to have that. And I think we see the risk is just, it's incredibly high when you do the minimum. We see the minimum achieved in a variety of industries, just to even bring up one of the most recent things, right? With Boeing. And we see them completing the minimum standard, and we see the risks. And when something happens, it's immensely damaging, not only to the public, but to the business, to the people who work for that business, right? Reputation. So just the minimum is not good enough, no matter what that minimum is, where you are. And as you mentioned, different geographic regions, even within the US alone, will have different laws. But I like how you said, don't ignore the law, but just be better. Find a reason to be better, no matter what that reason is for you. So I guess it's that mental
Mark,
shift.
if you were a business owner, think about it. What are your goals? You want to make money.
Yeah.
And so,
ultimately,
let's pretend like we're not talking about really important topics that trump profitability, but you cannot be the most profitable. You cannot reach your full potential as an organization if you are not focused on safety, because safety is, when you're not safe, it is so expensive. It can be damaging to your brand, like you said. And for some fleets, we can talk about fleets with 5 vehicles, fleets with 5,000, but anyone running a fleet, damaging your brand can be incredibly costly. And for some businesses, they won't make it out of a vehicle accident, meaning it'll cost them so much money that they may have to shut the doors, And so I think that being irresponsible or not addressing safety head on and really being exceptional at it is just is not running your business to its full potential. And to me, that leaves me scratching my head every time I talk to organizations that are like, yeah, we don't want to spend the money. And I'm like, the ROI is so there. You avoid one catastrophic accident, you've paid for that technology. And maybe the 1 or 2 drivers that left because they felt like you were monitoring them. It's all about how you sell that and tell that story. And it's about letting your drivers and your operators and your managers out there know what's in it for them and how important it is to use an organization to them for their bonus, for their profitability, not only because you want them to get to and from work safely every single day, which is like obviously the most important thing. So
yeah, that should be a motivating factor on its own. And I like how you mentioned technology there, because it bridges really well to what I wanted to address next. Obviously, we've seen an exponential growth in the technology available, in solutions that are now available for fleets and for vehicle operators and drivers. Would you say it's perhaps now easier than ever before to ensure that that higher standard of vehicle safety is maintained, especially when we look at this transparency and the accountability of it all? Having technology that could help, that's got to be easier now than it's ever been for operators.
It is. So adoption's key, right? So with the technology is there. There's onboard technology that the manufacturers are bringing to ADAS, right? For example, and then you have, fleet leaders bringing in technology, adding it to the vehicle for safety and efficiency. You have drivers and operators who can do inspections, thorough inspections, and quickly and efficiently with digital inspection tools. So there's like this tech stack that is available that is there, that is easy to train on and easy to use. So now it's just about, what are you waiting for out there, folks? Like, what on earth are you waiting for? And if cost is bogging your organization down around safety tech solutions, then you're just not talking to the right people. Because again, the ROI is there. And so I think technology is the only way to really maximize efficiency and safety in your fleets. And certainly to address the issues that we're talking about today around underperforming vehicles, roadway debris, tire safety. I mean, think about tires. Tires are one of the most expensive things that fleets deal with every day. And the idea of leaving for a trip, any trip, without checking the tire health, inflation, tread depth, wear and tear, these are visible to the human eye, right? And we have great little tools, and we have phones. We can take pictures. We can generate work orders from our phones right now when we identify a safety issue on our vehicles. So the tech's there, and it's just about adoption at this point.
Do you feel like the adoption rate, wherever it's at now, can increase because of how maybe user-friendly a lot of these new solutions are? I mean, we can't necessarily assume a driver, understands a lot about vehicles. He's a driver. We look different fleet. They could be, their careers built around the delivery side. We can't rely on them knowing every aspect of their vehicle. And in the past, that maybe was, I won't say an excuse, but it was a barrier to a lot of these preventative.
Excuse.
It was an excuse. All right. You said it. It was an excuse. But a lot of these preventative issues could have been avoided. Now with technology, there is no excuse to not do these checks or to not check your vehicle more regularly.
Yeah, because with the tools and technology, anyone is capable of evaluating their own fitness and the vehicle fitness every day. It's beautiful. I love where we are, but it's surprising. It's shocking, really, that there are still so many organizations out there running fleets without something as simple as a daily inspection and telematics that generates some great data to drive efficiency. I mean, you want to make money? Get data from your vehicles, and you can't do that without the tech. So again, these things are available, affordable, and I would say adoption is so much easier. And what's also really cool is that organizations that sell tools and technology, like IntelliShift, where I work, we are helping organizations ramp up. We are hiring fleet experts who can talk to organizations about how to get this done. We're helping them write policies. We're helping them socialize, build communications and strategies around adoption and implementation. So now's the time. I mean, again, no excuses in my mind. And it's affordable for everyone because you'll avoid accidents that, again, will pay for the tech over and over and over again. There's really no reason not to.
What would you say is the key to adoption then right now? Like getting more people using a lot of these solutions, or more of a culture of understanding that this is important? What are the key factors to adoption based on who you've spoken to and what you understand?
I think it's two key things. It's the people in the process, right? So on the people side, that is where culture comes into play. So you cannot get anywhere without a good culture around people and safety. And that requires the entire organization, all those business units we talked about, holding hands, getting together, and making sure that everybody is operating with that safety culture mindset. And it's not words, it's actions. Yep. And then when you go to implement something new, like inward facing vehicles, which is scary for organizations, and it shouldn't be, those conversations are easier when you can craft communications around the culture of safety you already have and be able to further show your employees what's in it for them, that you really, really care about them, and you hope they get home in better shape than they actually left in the morning for work. So I think culture's critical, and then really building those core processes to make it so easy to do these things, right? So we talked about that, those technologies and the policies and programs to back up the tech. And you'll see in no time that adoption will be a lot easier than you thought it would be. And then you're going to see results that you never thought you could attain. We're seeing customers anywhere from 30 to 85% reduction in accidents. And that's huge. And not only is it saving their organization a lot of money and increasing profitability, but it's building driver retention, and it's actually putting them in a position to hire better drivers. It's actually attracting employees because they want to work for an operation, work for an organization who cares about them. So I would argue all day long with anyone on earth about, man, if we do safety, we're going to lose people. Actually, people will know you care, and they're going to stay, and they're going to tell other people, hey, you should come and work for the company I work for. They really care about me.
That's such an important message. Yeah. I think that last one, especially with the staff shortage that we see in the industry and a lot of people bouncing around, I think a company that can offer that safety culture at its core, and the fact that we care about you know, we have a bottom line and we have goals, but we care about each individual person. I think that goes a long way in where people stay and retention, like you said.
Peace of mind is like, what price can you put on that?
Yeah.
It's like, it's the most valuable thing. I mean, who does not want peace of mind on a daily basis? And that's what you're selling. That's what you're providing to your employees when you do the right thing, is you're giving them peace of mind. They can't buy that anywhere. Nobody's selling it, but you're giving it to them when you have a culture of safety. It's just, I don't know. I think it makes so much sense.
Makes everything run smoother. Like the whole process of everything, as you said, it runs smoother when your business is in a good place mentally, and then you have the process to back it up. I think that's such
happy people do
message.
Better work.
Happy people do better work. I think I've heard that before, and it's never more true than it is now. You're 100% right.
It's statistically true. Yeah. You think about all the organizations that are doing surveys and, getting a baseline of all the time of how their associates are feeling about the organization and their work-life balance. Well, guess what? Culture of safety drives engagement, and it drives retention. And again, it creates a happier workforce who we know statistically, factually, that they're going to do better work when they're happy. So this is just all part of that puzzle, I think.
Yeah, a lot of different pieces coming together, but it all stems from that main concept, that image you want to attend. And I think that's a fantastic way to leave the audience with, and a great thing that people need to think about when we bring this episode to a close. But Erin, it's extremely insightful. I love this. I could literally talk to you for hours about this. I really appreciate the insights. It's a good topic, and it's an important one. And I think it's important that we addressed it today. And I think we touched those right points. So I think we'll end it there. But Erin, thank you so very much for today. Any final notes before we wrap up the show?
No, it's just my pleasure to be here. And if anybody wants to sort of reach out, just chat with me. I'm sort of a free resource in our industry trying to drive this community and culture of safety across the fleet industry. So, just hit me up on LinkedIn. I'm happy to talk about this with you at any time. It's my passion, as you can tell.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you do want to hear more from Erin, I would implore you to definitely go check out the podcast as well. That's Straight Talk on Fleet. You'll see her there, and it's fantastic episodes. I binged it very quickly, and I loved it. And I absolutely love the different topics, ranging from safety to, you name it on Fleet. It's all there. It's fantastic, and it's a resource, as we mentioned. It's all about education and resource. So, Erin, again, thank you so much for today. Really appreciate the time, and wish you a fantastic rest of the year.
It's our pleasure. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And to everyone watching and listening, thank you so very much for being with me today. Hopefully you've taken away a lot. I certainly have. I have so many notes on my pad here. Hopefully you do as well. If you do want to reach out about anything you heard today or ask any more questions, as Erin mentioned, look for the LinkedIn in the description of this video for myself and Erin. Reach out, ask those questions. We love to hear from you. And with that, we'll bring this episode to a close. Again, thank you all for watching us today. Wishing you a fantastic day wherever in the world you may be. Bye for now.